Have you ever asked yourself, why do I always end up in the same kind of pain? The same kind of relationship? The same kind of failure? The same feeling of emptiness, even when life seems okay? It's almost as if something is pulling you back, again and again and again. What if I told you that your mind is not trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you, but it's using a broken map, a map that was drawn when you were too young to hold a pencil, a map filled with fears, with unspoken pain, and buried beliefs you don't even know exist. Tonight, we enter the darkest corridors of the human mind, a place where your patterns were born, a place that doesn't forget, a place that might still be running your life. This is not just a video about psychology. This is a journey into the hidden programming of your mind. You see, most people think they make conscious choices, that they choose who to love, what to chase, and how to feel. But what if most of those choices are actually reactions, not to the present, but to the past? Reactions shaped by wounds you've forgotten, by moments you never understood, but that your subconscious never let go of. Psychology has a name for this: repetition compulsion. It's the mind's haunting trick, repeating unresolved trauma in new forms, hoping to fix it, but only reliving it again and again. It's why people fall in love with the same kind of toxic partner, why success feels empty, why fear whispers even in safe places. But here's the truth most don't want to face. Until you bring the unconscious to the surface, it will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. It starts early, earlier than most people realize. By the time you were 7 years old, your subconscious mind had already formed the core of your identity. Not because you decided who you were, but because your environment decided for you. You see, the brain of a child is like wet cement. Every word, every look, every punishment or praise leaves an impression. And here's the chilling part. The child doesn't just experience life, they interpret it. And those interpretations become lifelong truths. A father ignores his child's feelings. The child concludes, "My emotions don't matter." A mother lashes out in anger. The child thinks, "I must be the problem." These are not logical thoughts. They are emotional codes, burned into the subconscious, running in the background for decades. Psychologists call this the creation of core beliefs, silent rules we live by, even when they're destroying us. I must be perfect to be loved. If I speak up, I'll be hurt. I'm not good enough. And once these beliefs take root, the subconscious begins to filter the entire world through them. It seeks validation, not truth. It doesn't ask, "Is this belief right?" It asks, "How can I keep proving it?" And so, the same pain is relived, in different clothes, different relationships, over and over again. You think you're reacting to the moment. But what if you're actually reacting to a memory? That sudden anger, the panic in your chest, the urge to run or fight, it's not just about what's happening now. It's the subconscious being pulled by a thread, back to something you never resolved. These are called triggers, and they're the fingerprints of unhealed trauma. Trauma isn't always war zones or disasters. Sometimes, trauma is being ignored, being told to stay quiet, being laughed at when you were vulnerable. And the subconscious remembers. It stores the pain and watches for danger. Constantly. You might be 30 years old, but the subconscious doesn't care about age. It only knows one thing: protection. So, when your partner raises their voice and your heart races, that's not you being dramatic. That's your inner child bracing for the worst. When you shut down in conflict or lash out to feel safe, that's the invisible hand of past pain pulling the strings. It's why trauma survivors often say, "I don't know why I did that," or "It felt like I wasn't in control." That's because they weren't. Not entirely. The subconscious was behind the wheel. And it doesn't ask permission. It reacts. Until we face those buried moments, the subconscious keeps playing the same scenes, hoping this time you'll finally understand. Look around. Almost everyone is wearing a mask, not the kind you can touch, but the kind you become. The "I'm fine" mask, the strong one mask, the perfectionist, the joker, the overachiever. These aren't just personalities. They're defenses, built not for expression, but for protection. Think of the child who was never allowed to cry. They grow into the adult who never shows weakness, or the child who was ignored, who becomes the loudest in the room, because silence now feels like death. These masks form when being our real self feels unsafe. So we adapt, we survive, we become what the world demanded, even if it meant losing who we really were. But here's the terrifying truth. The longer you wear the mask, the harder it is to remember who you were before it. Some of us have worn it for so long, we believe it is us. The mask smiles. The mask works hard. The mask achieves. But at night, it slips. And the real self cries quietly, hoping someone, anyone, will see through it. But what if you are the one who needs to see? To ask, who was I before the world told me who to be? Because healing doesn't begin with fixing what's broken. It begins by removing what's not you. There's a part of your mind that controls your life, but you never see it coming. It's the whisper that says, "Don't try, you'll fail." The sudden fear when things go well, the self-doubt that poisons your dreams. This is the subconscious saboteur, a hidden force that lives inside your mind, but acts like it's protecting you. The irony? It was born to keep you safe. When you were young, your brain made associations. Maybe you were scolded when you spoke up, so it learned. Silence is safety. Or maybe love came with pain, so it decided, don't get too close. These beliefs became code. Silent rules. And your subconscious? It follows them perfectly. So when you try to speak out now, that old programming pulls you back. When love comes near, the saboteur whispers, "Run." And the worst part? You blame yourself. Why do I always ruin good things? Why do I procrastinate? Why do I choose the wrong people? But it's not weakness. It's not failure. It's programming. You were trained, without knowing, to fear success, fear love, fear visibility. And until you confront that hidden saboteur, you'll keep sabotaging the very things you pray for. But the saboteur isn't your enemy. It's the wounded child, trying to protect you with outdated tools. You don't destroy it. You meet it. You heal it. Because once you understand the saboteur, you take back control. Have you ever felt something so strong, so overwhelming, and had no idea why? A sudden panic in a calm moment, an unshakable sadness after a smile, a rage that burns out of nowhere. These aren't overreactions. They are echoes, emotional flashbacks from a past you can't always remember. You see, the body remembers what the mind forgets, and emotional pain, especially in childhood, leaves behind residue. These echoes don't speak in words. They speak in patterns, in reactions, in stories you didn't even write. Maybe your partner walks away during an argument, and you feel abandoned, like a child left behind. Maybe your boss raises their voice, and suddenly you're 7 years old again, being scolded for a mistake. The moment passes, but the emotion lingers, because it's not about now, it's about then. Your adult mind tries to make sense of it. I'm just sensitive. Maybe I'm crazy. But no, you're not crazy. You're carrying echoes. And these echoes create a loop. Emotion, reaction, regret, over and over again. The only way out is to trace the sound back to its source, not to silence it, but to listen. To say, what is this feeling trying to tell me? And more importantly, when did I first feel this way? Because if you can find the first wound, you can begin the real healing. Relationships are not just about love. They are mirrors. They reflect back to us the truths we try to bury, the wounds we pretend are healed, and the patterns we swore we'd never repeat. Have you ever wondered why you're drawn to people who hurt you? Why the same kind of pain keeps showing up no matter who you're with? It's not coincidence. It's the subconscious, trying to resolve unfinished stories. If your childhood taught you that love means proving your worth, you may find yourself chasing those who are distant. If love meant walking on eggshells, you may feel strangely safe in chaos. This is not weakness. This is the inner child reaching out, hoping this time the story ends differently. But relationships can't heal what we're unaware of. They can only highlight it. That's why conflict in relationships is rarely about the present. It's about the past playing out in disguise. A partner forgetting to call might awaken the child who was forgotten. A disagreement might trigger the child who was never allowed a voice. These are not just fights. They are flashbacks, carried out in adult bodies, speaking old scripts. The healing begins not by blaming the other, but by noticing the mirror. Ask yourself, what part of me is being reflected right now? What does this reaction remind me of? Because the moment you see the mirror clearly, you can choose not to smash it, but to use it, to grow, to unlearn, to love without repeating pain. Change doesn't begin with willpower. It begins with awareness. You cannot heal what you don't see, and you cannot change what you don't understand. But once you do, once you name the wound, you can begin to rewrite the pattern. Think of your brain like a forest. Every thought is a path. The more you walk it, the deeper it gets. Trauma carves deep trails, but healing is planting new ones. At first, these new paths are faint. I am enough. I am safe now. I don't need to prove my worth. These words feel foreign, even fake, but with repetition and emotion, they start to take root. Tools like inner child work allow us to go back, to meet the part of us that was hurt, to say, you didn't deserve that. It wasn't your fault. You are worthy of love, just as you are. Through therapy, journaling, breathwork, meditation, we create new neurological wiring, slowly, carefully, consistently. But healing isn't a straight line. Some days the old patterns scream louder. That's okay. That's normal. Because healing is not becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before the world taught you to forget. Before you were told you were too much, or not enough, or only worthy when quiet, useful, perfect. You were whole then, and that wholeness still lives inside you. There is a child inside each of us, still watching, still waiting, still hoping we'll finally hear them. That child isn't weak. They survived things no one saw. They learned to smile through pain, to shrink themselves to stay safe, to be good, to be loved. But now, it's your turn to speak, to whisper back through the silence and say, you don't have to hide anymore. I see you now. I've got you. Healing isn't loud. It's quiet and brave. It's the choice to show up, day after day, even when the old voice says you're not enough. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the past doesn't define you. It teaches you. It gives you the power to feel what others can't, to rise from where you've fallen, to hold others when they need it most. Because when you finally meet your inner child with compassion, you don't just rewrite your story, you end the cycle for generations to come. And that is the truest kind of power,